about what your initiatives are there and your position on things.
So that company, I raise capital, and so I vet, hundreds of deals a year. Maybe we'll find one or two that this year I think we're on our third one, but we're very, very selective to put two out to our group of investors and say, yes, we've done all the vetting for you. All the due diligence. We know that this one is going to perform. Our goal is always to get our investors over 20% annualized return over the hold period, which is 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then they get cash flow all the way through preferred cash flow. So that's what I do. Essentially we vet these real estate deals and we put them out to our kind of tribe of investors for them to invest in them.
Yeah, how exciting. If anybody looks at their bank account statement and you see the interest earned for the month, what is it, 1.5% right now or something, if you're lucky, well, they're probably just billing you, so you're probably negative something. And even the average 401ks, I think in the last couple of years, if you're earning 10, 11%, you're in the right portfolio, but even that's not even remotely close to 20%.
Correct. And there's a lot of, benefits. A lot of people are like, well, why don't I just change my allocation and go into REITs? Well, the REITs are different because REITs, you're investing actually in a stock, and that therefore takes all the benefits of tax benefits away from you because you're not investing directly into real estate. And that's another big thing the wealthy have taught me is certainly they think about cash flow and returns, but almost equally as important is their tax. What's going to happen tax wise for them? Mm-hmm. What are the ramifications of their taxes? They're thinking of that all the time. And that's why they're wealthy, because they think of these things.
Yeah, it's no mistake that they got where they're at for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, where can somebody find you and learn a little bit more about what you do and how they can take advantage of the company that you're with?
Yeah, you can just go to my website, which is www.erbewealth.com. We just put up a new report of the 5 reasons that passive investing might be for you. And that's a good place to start. I've got a ton of content on the website to educate a lot of new people, because that's really where my outreach is now. The wealthy people tend to just find me, but I'm looking for people that maybe want to do a little better than what they are doing and try something different.
Yeah. What is your outlook on the next couple of years as it relates to performance of different types of investments?
Well, I mean, Rob, we're very specific. So we go into very specific markets, and we do an enormous amount of research on those markets. And so our markets are largely in Florida. Mm-hmm. And Florida did fantastic through COVID. If you look at multifamily properties, which is what we primarily invest in, during recessions, they do incredibly well, because people, if they're losing their houses, they're moving into an apartment complex. And so as such, that asset class tends to be incredibly recession resistant, as well as the other hand is inflation right now. And it's a great hedge against inflation. Mm-hmm. But the markets we look at are very, the housing is very behind. And so that makes a real supply demand issue. And in some of the places where we've invested, the rent growth has gone up in double digits the last few years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting. I hardly ever bring politics into this show, but you brought up Florida. And I can't help but think that some of the politics that's happening in the nation are driving people to different demographics. I mean, you've got DeSantis down there in Florida. He's running his state differently than a lot of other states. Take California, for example, and his market's getting flooded with people moving down there. I'm in Montana. Our housing market is out of control. There's no inventory here, right?
Yeah.
My house doubled in the last year and a half. It's insane. And I just can't help but think that a lot of people are going to areas that fits their culture, their politics, where they want to surround themselves with like-minded people.
Yep. And I mean, in Florida, it's 2,000 people a day
Wow.
are going there. So people are like, well, what will happen if there's a recession? Well, maybe that'll stop completely. But Florida's still way, way behind on building. It's going to take them years to catch up with the housing that's going on down there. But absolutely, I have people in other states, and we've always been told the market is everything. You need to know the ins and outs. You need to know everything about that market. And certainly people that invested in places like California or other places where they were hit really hard and by those moratoriums that were issued.
Mm-hmm.
By the governments in those states. So it's hugely important.
It all plays a role. Well, look, I really appreciate your insight. I think that you're adding tremendous value to our listeners as it relates to where to put their money, what they can be doing different. You don't often hear somebody boldly say, hey, maybe you should look somewhere else than your 401k, but things are changing. We have to be creative with our thinking.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sign off with that. I want to thank you so much for your time and energy and willingness to be on the show today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.